Hi, I'm Russ Cassidy, regional editor for Appalachian Newspapers, and you join us again for the Appalachian Outdoors podcast, and we do appreciate each and every one of you who are joining in. This is our third episode. We're starting to get the hang of it. Of course, to far right, my far right is Devin Kidd, our outdoor columnist and staff writer for the Floyd County Chronicle and Times. Uh, it's turkey season, Devin. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about our guest today that we've got here in the center, Dr. Chris Stumbo. Tell us a little bit about why he's joined us today.
Well, number one, he's a diehard turkey hunter, but I would say, and in his eyes too, more importantly, is there's a calling contest coming up in Meany, Kentucky, right? Our backyard pretty well. And to my knowledge, there has never been anything like that. We had the state calling competition over here at the expo, but to bring it to that little community, we're hoping to see maybe some local girls and guys get in that maybe wouldn't do so if it wasn't there, if they didn't have that opportunity, it being so close by.
Well, so tell us a little bit about what a calling contest entails and kind of what is a calling contest?
Well, basically through the NWTF, there's kind of two kinds of contests. You have a sanctioned contest or a non-sanctioned. A sanctioned contest, which is what this one is in Minnie and the one we had at the expo in the state, means that if you place or qualify in this contest, that means that qualifies you for Grand Nationals in Nashville in February. If it's non-sanctioned, then it just doesn't. It's just for fun. But basically what a calling contest entails is it's split up by divisions, and it's to do with age as well as the type of calling you're asking for. We start with the Pulse division, which is the children under 11. And then the next division will be the Jakes, which is 11 to 15. And then you get into the amateur hunter class, which is open to any age. It's just, it's for people that's never qualified for Grand Nationals. Like if you've won an open somewhere or you've won a friction division somewhere, you no longer qualify for the amateur division. And then you have some of your specialty calling, which is owl hooting and gobbling. Those are two other divisions that follow after that. And then you have a friction division and an open division. And that's basically how it's set up. And it usually goes somewhat in that order.
Well, obviously, at the end, there's probably going to be some prizes on the line
Sure,
and stuff like
correct.
that. But how much of this is pride? Like, how much of it comes down to you just want to be the best at?
Well, and it comes down to, and everybody has different goals. And that's true. There's a lot of pride and a lot of things. Like if you see some of the guys, like some of the top guys that you watch in Nashville, like the Dave Owens, the Matt Van Sice, the Grossenbacher, these top contenders, they kind of have some kind of confidence about themselves, and they kind of walk around in that world with a little bit of an aura, if you will. You look and you say, man, that's Matt Van Sice, or that.
And we was blessed to have all those guys over here.
Exactly. That's Matt Van Sice, or that's Jesse Martin, or that's Dave Owens. Those are the kind of the top contenders, the top players in that world, and it's really cool to be around them.
Right. So when it comes down to turkey calling, what's more important, especially from a contest perspective? Is it the realism, or is it I'm a fisherman, and I know, and I tie flies and stuff, and I know with flies, there's two aspects.
Yeah.
There's attracting fish, and there's attracting fish.
Yeah.
Like, which is more important? Is it more important to just make the call the most interesting, or is it just like to be the most realistic?
Well, if you're talking just about the contest perspective, because turkey hunting and turkey calling is two different worlds. So if we're just talking about the contest perspective, what matters the most is everybody sounds good, generally. The top guys, the top contenders, everybody can make good sounds. It's just how do you present that? How do you paint that picture? Like, if they ask for a certain sound or a certain scenario, the judges a lot of times they got the best tuned ears in the country in Nashville, and they're listening for, is that hen actually doing what I'm thinking it's doing when I close my eyes? Can I see that hen, playing yelping? Can I see that hen feeding and clucking and purring? Can I see that hen walking a limb and flying down, on a fly down tackle? How do you present that scenario? Now, not only is the sound quality have to be good, like you can't make any mistakes in your notes, but if you have to have good sound quality and a really good presentation, and that's what matters in a contest.
Because I mean, and you correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of I think all of them, you know, they're either we done behind a curtain. The way we do.
Yeah, correct.
They don't actually see the caller.
Correct. Yeah, the judges don't see the caller. They'll say caller number 1 come to the stage, and the judges are hid behind a curtain facing away from the caller, so they don't see who's running that call.
You've got audio.
All you can hear is what you're hearing.
Wow. Well, do you want to demonstrate a couple of calls for us here? Like, what are your more interested? Like, what are the calls you're really proud of? Are you going to be competing in the?
Oh yeah.
So what are you going to throw out there without getting too into your strategy?
Well, it just depends on what they ask for. You have a list of calls that they ask for in each division. You know, it may be a lot of times if you look at yelps and cuts, that's mostly everybody's power calls.
Right.
What they call the separator calls is your soft stuff. Kiki runs, clucks and purrs, things like that is kind of how you separate things about what you're doing. So depending on what we ask for, because the way we're going to do this contest is we take all the calls and we cut them up into a little piece of paper and draw them out of a hat. That's how you get your call list. You know, that's how we done it for the Kentucky State, and that's how most contests do it when they decide what's going to be there. So we just draw them out of a hat for every division.
And I promise you, after you get into 6, 7, 8 different competitions, it can get okay. You got to keep your X's and I's.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'm getting.
So what kind of call is this?
Well, this is all these calls right here. You can't buy these on a shelf. A good friend of mine from Hazard actually makes my calls for me. We sit down together and I'll tell him, what latex I want, what tightness, what stretch, and we sit down. He presses them and cuts the tape and says, "Try this one, see what they think." So these are all calls that he and I have made together. So this call is a batwing style call. It's 3 reeds, and the stretch is kind of something you don't tell. It's just kind of everybody's own thing. But, this call is mostly for aggressive stuff, cutting and yelping, things like that. And, I will run these same calls in the woods that I do on stage as well, So, and a lot of guys do, I mean, I was talking to, Matt Van Sice the other day, and he said, I basically run the same calls when I hunt, but I'll pick through, calls that sound a little better when he goes to the stage. But a lot of guys use the same calls on the stage that they hunt with as well. Yeah.
Well, demo a little bit for us. Let's hear what a call sounds like.
Well, this will be just cutting and yelping, excited yelping, plain yelping, and I'll kind of just start low and get a little bit more. Now that's more like just aggressive kind of stuff. If you're in the hunting world, if it's midday and you're trying to strike a turkey to get one to answer you, that's kind of a lot of stuff that I do middle of the day. Cut really loud, excited yelps, and
what you're about to do right now is close the gap stuff.
Yeah, this is a lot of short game stuff. This clucking, purring, soft yelping, and this is kind of just I'm trying to kind of bridge turkey hunting with calling, and I think that good callers can make some turkeys gobble and work the other callers can't, other hunters can't. But this is just kind of some soft stuff.
Wow. Now, how long have you been doing this?
Well, I've turkey hunted for 20 plus years, but I got into calling really last year a whole lot.
How many states have you been to?
The call, let's see, Kentucky, South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, Ohio, 5 or 6. Yeah, here close.
Well, give us the details on the calling competition. Where's it going to be, and if you just want to come observe or get to participate, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's at Mini Kentucky in the DAV building. Doors open at 8 o'clock. Sign-ups will be from 8 to 10.
What date is this?
This is May the 10th, so it'll be next Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, May the 10th. So sign-ups will be from 8 to 10. Calling will start with the Polts at 10:30. And you will generally run in the order of Polts, Jakes, Intermediate, Hunter class. And then we'll probably have a short break, and then we'll do Owl Hooting, Gobbling, Friction, and Hoping. Various prices to sign up for various divisions. It's free admission if you want to just come and watch, and really the reason we wanted to do this one locally and call it the Beaver Creek Classic was we wanted the local people to try to get involved. I mean, I'd love to see all you guys come and call in the Hunter division or any division you want to, because I feel like some people were intimidated at Kentucky State. They didn't want to call in the big divisions against some of the best guys, and I understand it.
I would imagine 2 or 3 years ago, you'd never imagine you'd be doing this.
Right, yeah, but that's the thing is this getting into calling made me a better caller, made me a better hunter as well. And, at the end of the day, man, you're just standing up there running the turkey call. I mean, you're just how can you beat that? You're just having fun, so.
Exactly right.
Well, I understand before we close out today, but I understand that you reached a milestone recently as far as turkey and it goes down. You want to introduce us a little bit about that?
Well, you remember, of course, few weeks back, I was blessed to be able to talk to him and his dad, Tracy. Grand Slam in and of itself is a major accomplishment, but to do it side by side with your dad, who Chris called his best friend as well.
Yeah.
You can talk a little bit about what all Grand Slam encompasses.
Yeah, well, the Grand Slam of wild turkeys is there's 4 subspecies in the U.S. You have the eastern, which is here, the Osceola, which is in Florida, and it's only in the Florida Peninsula. The Merriams, which are kind of out west, mostly the Dakotas, Wyoming, Montana, a little bit down into Nebraska, so forth. And you have the Rio Grandes, which are Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, a little bit into southern Nebraska, so forth, even over into New Mexico. But if you harvest all 4 subspecies, you have what's called a Grand Slam. So of course we've killed easterns, for several years, and then we was lucky enough to have a place to go to in Texas. My Uncle Grady, who's my partner at the office, he has a friend in Texas who had a ranch, and we got to go down there in the spring of 23 and turkey hunt in March. And I told Dad, I said, let's go down here and turkey hunt. We got nothing else to do in March, nothing else going on except work. So we go down there and we kill those Rio Grandes, and I start talking to him about the Grand Slam. Well, that's 2 of them right there.
Right.
So he said, well, how many more do we need? I said, 2. Well, where you want to go next? I said, well, let's go to the Black Hills and hunt the Merriams. He said, well, that sounds good. I love sturgis. I love spearfish. He loves the Black Hills. So we went there in 24 and killed those. And then I finished up in Florida this year with Black Bottom Outfitters. Good friend of mine, Garrett Mosley, got us in down there and was able to get it done. But that was all those have been special moments. But I've stood beside him and sat beside him and watched him do this for all these years, and every time he kills one, I just think, man, give me one more spring. Give me one more spring, because you just never know when your last one is. So every one that he does is just one more.
He's a wonderful man.
Yeah, and he'll be 77 in August, and he's still able to get out and do this. He's still in pretty good health, as far as getting around in the woods. But when I was younger, he wanted to talk about, running and gunning these turkeys, and, it was kill them or run them off. That was his philosophy, and that's kind of how he taught me. But anymore, he wants to sit in the blind and drink coffee, and he says, call me a turkey up here, let me shoot.
But it's probably at the end of the day more about time with you, although the turkey's important.
Right, yeah.
But, that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, it's people don't quite understand. If you're not involved in the outdoors in various aspects, it's about family, it's about friends, it's about all that, and we would encourage everyone to just check out this calling competition coming up at the DAV in Minnie on May 10th. If you got some time, check it out. Take your kids out just in case they've never seen anything. They might find an interest that they never had before. But we definitely want to encourage that.
At the end of the day, get the youth involved, and I can speak for him on this because I've talked to him. That's the big thing for him. Anybody that's involved in it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Dr. Stumbo, we appreciate you joining us today, and good luck with the competition. We hope it brings in a lot of people, and we hope it does spark some interest in some people. Again, I'm Russ Cassidy. This is Devin Kidd. We're with the Appalachian Outdoors Podcast. Let us know what you want to see, what you want to hear, what you want us to look at. We do appreciate all your time, and listen, get outdoors. It's beautiful right now. If you have ideas, let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Want to see you all out there. All the local guys want to see you come to the competition.